Hey, I'm Kathryn Wisinger. We're here at the Putnam County Library with Spencer Traut. He's coming around right now. We're going to talk to you all about AI, and this is AI 101. It might actually be better termed AI 0 because we're kind of all at a starting point here. I do want to address the fact we had a lot of comments on Facebook about this class, almost as much as our Bluey party. So there was a lot of commenting about our class today. I want you all to know that we don't promote, support, or endorse AI in any way. We're just here to give you some information and to show you some things about AI so you can learn about it and make your own decisions. So that's what we're here to do today. And I'm going to tell you a really brief story. Did everyone get a vocabulary sheet? Excellent. A really brief story about these classes. They were born of need. Of course, we have lots of classes at the library, and usually they're a response to request. People want a class, they want us to provide something for them, and we try and do that to the best of our ability, but I could not figure out who could teach these AI classes. And Spencer and I were working on an audit we did and looking through our books, and he was using AI tools to do it, and I was too a little bit. I was very clunky using AI, and so one day I come into his office and I look over his shoulder and I see how he's using AI, and I was like, oh, Spencer, you can teach this class. I was like, I think you can teach us a lot about how we use AI. So he's gonna mostly lead the class today. I just wanted to give you all a little bit of kind of introduction to what we're gonna talk about. I'm gonna jump in some with him and show him my more clunky uses of AI while he shows you how he's used it with his job and in his job. And again, the vocabulary sheet, this is not even close to all the vocabulary words and phrases and things that are generated by AI or that are used with AI. I tried to give you some of the biggest ones and the ones that you will see most often when you read about or talk about AI or you hear it. Like I was telling some of you beforehand, I listened to an AI Daily Brief podcast, and when I first started listening, I didn't know half of the words they were saying. So anyway, Spencer Traut, our expert.
Thanks, Kathryn. So today we're going to kind of go over what you can do with ChatGPT and programs like it. There's a couple, Grok, ChatGPT,
Copilot, Gemini.
I mean, everyone's got an AI these days. It's just kind of an expanding thing. And that's why we wanted to go over it, because it's really, we're inundated with it these days. There's a lot of controversy about it, but it's something that's not really going away. So you can either learn to live with it, or it's kind of something that you're not going to be able to avoid. There's a lot of great uses for it, and there's a lot of criticism about it too. We'll go into that, but it's all something that's only improving day by day. It's really useful. We'll go into it, but
It's so fast.
yes,
I think that's another issue with AI. It's exponentially increasing in ability, and it's hard to keep up. It feels hard to keep up.
yeah, exactly. I mean, compare it to when it launched. Was it almost 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago? And it's completely different. There's this standard for what AI can do. It's kind of funny, but it's video of Will Smith eating spaghetti. And when it first started, it didn't look like a real person. It looked like, I don't know, like a stop motion sort of animation. But now, you couldn't even really tell the difference. It looks like him. It looks like a real video of Will Smith. And a year or two from now, who knows?
One of our classes, we're going to talk about that, how to spot the difference between an AI generated image and an actual image. And that's something that's been on the forefront of libraries, not necessarily image generation, but books and writing, and how that bumps up against, for us, intellectual freedoms and creative freedom. So we want to be able to tell the difference between something that's generated by AI versus this is from a human. That's certainly not something we're going to really talk about much today, but we are going to, in the subsequent classes, talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, at the next one, March 26th, someone was asking about it. March 26th at noon. Put on your calendars. We'd love to have you back, and we'll show you a video of Will Smith eating spaghetti. Look forward to that. The best way to use AI is as a tool. A lot of the criticism comes from that it replaces the creativity of people. Yes?
I really, this is personal request.
Sure.
Okay.
Actually, no, it is March 27th. Yeah, it is a Friday. I had that date wrong. It's March 27th.
Thank you.
Yes. March 27th at noon. I don't know why I said the 26th. It'll be Friday, March 27th. Yes. But the best way to use it, yeah, is as a tool, not to replace, a lot of people criticize high school students these days for letting it write their papers, and then by the same token, some teachers use it to grade their papers, so it's just AI grading AI and no one's doing any real work. We're not advocating for that at all. We don't want to replace anyone's creativity. We don't want it to replace anyone's ingenuity. It's best used to assist you doing stuff, analysis and stuff like that. That's what I've used it for in the past. It kind of just helps you streamline your work. And it's, in our experience, it's best used to aid the work that you're already doing rather than replace any work, any legwork that you're putting in. So what I've used it for in the past, pretty recently actually, is giving me advice as to what I can put on standing order, for example. I'll start with this example. Standing order is something that you have order monthly, pretty regularly.
It really works well with spreadsheets.
Yes.
So it's a spreadsheet with tons of titles and lots of information about what books to order, basically, in a nutshell.
Exactly. And the most popular authors we usually have on standing order, like think James Patterson, Daniel Steele. Everyone's going to check those books out no matter what book it is. And so we order them automatically, so we don't have to remember that they're going to be coming out with a book and then we forget, and we don't end up having the book. And I was noticing that we were ordering a lot of books that on standing order weren't really moving, that weren't checking out. So I was trying to edit the list of standing order authors I had. And so I was going to ask AI for that. I was going to give it, see the input here of our most popular items, our most popular authors, and it gives you when it was last checked out, the total number of checkouts. And those the columns F and G are pretty much the most useful columns and the most useful data when it comes to figuring out what you're going to have on standing order. The output over here, it gave me who I should have, and there's obviously way more than what you see here. It gives you pages sometimes of information and advice as to what you can do, whatever you put in, and we'll go into that more. But for example, it's like, yeah, definitely order James Patterson, David Baldacci, Michael Connolly, Harlan Coben, Karen Slaughter. These are essential. And then below that, it had, here's people you could have on standing order. They're pretty popular. And then below that, it's like, here's people you should remove. These are not moving. You're wasting money on these books. And of course, if they come out with a popular book, then order it. But don't order it by default, just because of who they are. It's not moving very often.
So I want to call your attention to one of our first vocabulary words, which is hallucinations down at the bottom. So that is an incorrect response from AI. And responses from AI always confidently, it's always confident. There's clarity, there's hard evidence, this is what you should do, this is exactly correct, but it's not always correct. And hallucination is the term for when AI gives you an incorrect response. So you always need to go back and check that. And so while it is great at sorting and looking through spreadsheets and finding things, you always need to put human eyes on this and look at it again. And so Spencer knows from people coming in and requesting things what books they want. So this helps, again, it's a tool, but we can't just completely rely on it. But hallucinations, that's when AI gets it wrong. And it does, often.
Oh yeah, definitely. You need
So
to
is
take
there a way to test if it's an hallucination versus truth?
Well, you have to, I would think, and I don't know this 100%, but you would have to go and check it like yourself. I don't think AI could necessarily check itself. And there is another one of the vocab words like deep fakes. It's when there's a ton, or AI slop is when there's lots of information generated and it's not correct. Like, I think my example was you should put glue on pizza, something like, obviously don't do that, no one does that, but it comes up with some really odd things. And a lot of time, of course we know not to do that, but when you put in a spreadsheet and it says something like there's hard evidence that this is true, you're a lot more likely to believe something like that. So we always go back and check it like ourselves and make sure that it's correct. But Todd, I don't know how to like recheck AI, like test it.
You have to, look at the data yourself. You know, for this example, there was one author that it suggested that they're dead. They're not really coming out with books anymore, so there's really no point in having, they'd have a couple posthumous books come out, but they weren't really releasing anymore, and there's not really a big point in having them on standing order. So you have to look at the data yourself, and the best way to look at what AI gives you, the advice it gives you, is just that advice and assistance. Go ahead.
In my art community yesterday, one of the artists was posting this list of tips and tricks, and it read like pure Google AI, but no disclosure of this is AI because there's passion in my community on that. So I commented underneath, I'm like, what are the sources for this? Because I'd love to learn more and force them to go back and, and get that detail. But I run it through a plagiarism checker. When you're doing that, those free plagiarism checkers will identify that.
Yeah, that's great. And go ahead, Rochelle.
So I was kind of playing with it because I, tested it out.
Yes,
and stuff, and,
absolutely.
I asked it a question about an aquarium that worked with an animal. And it was like, no, they don't work with that type of animal. So I was like, yes, they did, and this was the date. And it actually did, I don't know what it does, you probably do, but it actually did go back and think about what I would not think about, whatever it does. But I gave them some dates, and it came back and said, yes, we were wrong, basically we were wrong, and yes, they did work with this at this point. So it's kind of interesting to play with, because there's a few of those things, like I did a test on how much energy AI uses, and I asked them to give me apples to apples. They didn't do that, and I was like, that wasn't apples to apples. So it's kind of interesting to dig a little deeper through AI, I guess.
A good point that you bring up that we're gonna definitely talk about, but this was something that I noticed when I looked over Spencer's shoulder that very first day and was like, oh, you can help people, is how you talk to AI matters. It very much matters what you put in the prompt. So the prompt is like that box where you're telling it, can you analyze this collection? You have to be very specific, more specific than you might think. And while it responds in a human-like way, which is weird and always throws me off, of course it's not. And it's not gonna go off topic. He and I were talking about that too. Whereas a human, you ask them a question, they're gonna give you so much information, much of which is irrelevant. The computer is only absolutely going to tell you what you ask it. So what you put in the prompt is very important.
Yeah, argue with it, I've done that exact thing too. I'm like, that's not right, like, what about this? And it'll take into account different evidence that it doesn't go through the first time around. It can only take in so much information and spit something out. If you tell it something different, did you take into account this? Then it'll take a different perspective, and it helps.
Yes, when I was putting in some spreadsheets, I asked it to always take COVID years out. Like I would say, look at 2020 and 2021 separately from any data I give you in this decade. Like pull these 2 years out. But you have to tell it to do that, or it won't, and suddenly you'll get this spreadsheet with a huge outlier, it skews your data. So you do have to be very specific in your prompt.
Spencer, because you're talking about spreadsheets that I don't understand how, and I don't know if you're gonna go into this, you just put it in chat. How do you put it in to get information out?
Oh yeah.
Because that's like steps further than just asking.
Sure, you're right, yeah.
Are you gonna go into that? I don't know.
Well, there's a little, I can show you later, we'll pull up and do a live ChatGPT session. There's a little icon, like the paperclip icon, like you see in in email. You can attach pictures, spreadsheets, documents. Yeah, it's crazy the amount of stuff you can put in there, and it'll just analyze it. You don't have to just do chat. And I didn't realize that until we started using it for this job. I thought it was just like, oh yeah, you chat with, it's ChatGPT.
So you put in that spreadsheet, you say, tell me this, you can say, tell me this is.
Yeah.
We're gonna show you some real life examples.
It'll even give you a spreadsheet and spit out a spreadsheet, alter your spreadsheet and add a column to it. I'll show you in a little bit, but it'll like tag certain items, like here's what here's what stands out to me. So, for example, this is something you could use in your personal life.
Yeah.
It's the same sort of vein as that standing order example I was showing you, but I pretended like I took the amount of protein I ate in a given week and put it in a spreadsheet. And I was asking it, can you give me advice about how I can increase my protein consumption?
This input is the prompt.
Yeah.
This is what he typed into ChatGPT, and he uploaded this spreadsheet on that prompt. So he would type this in. If I give you a spreadsheet tracking my daily and weekly protein consumption, can you provide advice for how best to increase that amount? And then he attached this spreadsheet. I will say, when I looked at his output, which you're gonna see on the next slide, I was like, oh, I see you did not ask it to be careful with cholesterol.
Oh yeah.
So, what it will do,
dogs.
once again, is exactly what you tell it to do.
Right.
So while it increased his protein, absolutely did a great job with that, but it also increased lots of other metrics that you might not want to increase.
Oh, yeah.
So here's his output.
Spencer, I have a question, please.
Yes.
Go back one.
Yeah.
So could you have left columns that are the protein number blank and then ChatGPT fill that in for you?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's, I mean, again,
You
it's
can have
an estimate, but so was this too. I mean, I don't know exactly how much, and I really didn't eat all this in a week. I was just making all this up. But spaghetti and meatballs. I just looked it up on Google. How many grams of protein is in spaghetti and meatballs? And
But you could have left it blank and it would have auto-populated.
it would have pulled probably from similar sources that I pulled. And when you ask it to, it'll give you usually, I mean, depending on what you're asking it, it'll provide sources backing up why it's giving you this info. But if you left it blank and you're asking it to populate it with data, then it would provide, hey, here's how I found out how many grams of protein on spaghetti and meatballs.
You can ask it to provide evidence.
Yeah.
You can ask it, and you can say, where'd you get this? What's your source? Which is a great thing to do. Now, sometimes you don't need that, but you can do that.
And then you can click on the source. That's the best way to
Check
make sure, check it. Is just check the actual source. And sometimes it gets it wrong. A lot of the time it gets it right, but take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, hallucinations, remember. Ooh, big word there to remember. Yeah.
So, for example, Kathryn was saying there's a lot of stuff in here that you might not want. Maybe you're lactose intolerant, you can't eat Greek yogurt or cottage cheese, Maybe you don't want all of the, double meat. You don't want to
Yeah, it was the double meat where I was like, really?
Yeah.
Are we double meating here?
But then I could have come back and said, hey, I'm lactose intolerant, and by the way, I'm now going to be vegetarian, so I need to take that.
Yeah. Yes, so you can adjust it. So if you get this output and you're like me, you do a total double take and you're like, whoa, I can't eat eggs and yogurt and double meat. You can absolutely do those things and it'll adjust, and it is fast.
And it breaks it down that it makes it, that's why I circled the easiest way to increase protein. It really highlights, like, hey, here's the best thing you can do. You eat 2 eggs a day, just eat 3. And then there you go, 6 more grams of protein. You can add this to your breakfast.
Mm-hmm. And it also tells you, like, there at the very top, what your spreadsheet reveals, it will also point out some things, and you can ask it to do that. Like, you can just simply put, if he had put that spreadsheet in, he could have said, what do you think? Analyze my diet. Where do you think I'm strong or weak, or do you see any trends in my diet? And see what it comes back with. You can also do that.
Yeah.
Kind of play around with
You can
it.
ask it to elaborate. The left column is
Elaborate.
where it does that a little bit, but like if you were like, hey, how am I doing? It kind of gives you that here for many adults. It's like 70 to 100 grams that'll maintain your muscle mass or whatever. If you want to gain muscle mass, you need more than 100.
But of course, he didn't put in that he was a male, his height, his weight, his exercise level.
Exactly.
So once again, remember, it's only responding to exactly what you put in that prompt. That is very important.
Just had a very frightening realization about this. It is exactly like a human, because if you ask a human a question that is vague enough, you've left the door open for all answers. And that is frightening to think of it, that this is actually the same as a human learning model.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, it is becoming more human-like. I don't know if it'll ever be 100% there, which is probably a good thing, but it is becoming more human-like,
There's another vocabulary. Oh yes, so large language models. That's on the back. But that is the foundation for a lot of these kind of chatbots and ChatGPT and Gemini. They're trained on large language models. And because that very last sentence is because large language models have learned patterns that help them respond the way a person would. So it does make it seem like they have thoughts and feelings. The computer, I don't know if you've seen these terrible headlines where kids and people even take advice and they use that advice from the computer. It's because they do seem like they use patterns of speech that a human would use. And so don't be fooled by that. It's just a computer. It doesn't have thoughts or feelings.
And here's at the very end, I just kind of
I didn't
included
see
this
this in
to
my
make it.
librarian efficiency recommendation.
I know. See, I did this a couple days ago, or maybe it was last week, and so it's taking everything it knows about me. It knows I'm a librarian. It's like, hey, here's.
Oh, that's funny.
I'm gonna take into account the fact that, like I said, a little creepy, but it's
Okay.
kind of nice. It tailors it to my actual experience.
Oh,
you're
I
working
s-
these hours. You're doing it.
You're
Yeah.
probably sitting more.
Yeah,
Yes, look at that.
Woo!
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. It's
Just let me see how detailed you want to go. I like your slightly creepy. You're right. It's,
But the interesting thing about it is if you keep one chat going, and you start ChatGPT, I don't know about other AI, but ChatGPT, if you start a chat and you just keep continuing it, there's a certain point I think it stops taking into account previous messages, but it'll just build off of what you've given it, and it'll keep, hey, here's everything you've told me from back months ago. I'll take that into account. If you start a new message, it'll wipe the slate clean, kind of. So you can have multiple chats going if you don't want what you previously wrote to influence what it's saying. If I didn't want it to give me the librarian tailored response, I could have started a new chat and wouldn't have taken that into account.
and it saves them.
Yeah.
By the way, it saves them. So if you create a login, it saves them. So it'll save them on the side, and it will say, like, here's where you were trying to figure out how to train a bloodhound. Here's how you were trying to create your meal plan.
Right.
It'll
If
save
you
them.
got an account with that particular one.
Yes,
Right.
and what I'll also say is every single one of the variations of the AI models that I have found have a free entry point. So you can try them for free. You can log on if you want to for free. Or they have paid tiers. You can also pay for them. We don't pay for AI here. We don't use it to design or create anything. We really use it for spreadsheets. We put spreadsheets in a lot.
So if you had your account that do you have an account?
Yeah, just like I just put in my Gmail's free.
So if you have an account and you did your librarian work and another time you did this meal thing, will it track all that? And
No, only if you keep it in the same chat, to
Same
my
chat,
understanding,
okay.
yeah. If you just have it in the same
it
chat.
doesn't keep on thinking about
Right.
everything you ever said when
Right.
it does the next one?
Exactly, you can have it do that,
You gotta keep it in the same
chat.
same chat.
What you were saying, if you wanted a nutrition tab, here's how you can increase protein, but then you wanted a dog help tab, keep all of it kind of separate, and so it's not, contaminating one piece of evidence with another, then you can kind of do that. Or if you want to keep it all in the same chat and have it take everything into account about you, you can do that too. Here's another cool thing that I
This
did.
is really cool.
Yeah, it saved us a ton of time. Right here, it's a picture of a donation shelf that we have downstairs.
We get book donations and we love them.
Yeah, tons. And I was like, I'm sure there's tons of books in here that we could use, but I don't have time to sift through all these. It would take me hours. So I took a picture of the shelf, and I took more than one picture. I took several, but I just included one. I took several pictures of these shelves, and I said, hey, can you extract the titles from all these books, cross-reference them? I also
With our
included a
collection.
spreadsheet, a collection spreadsheet that I had. And hey, which
Uh-huh.
donations can I add to the collection? And it spat out that spreadsheet right there. Here's what you can add. Here's the, it's mostly missing entries in series. A lot of the donations,
Like 1, 2, 3, we have book 2, but not
Right.
the first one.
yeah,
And so it's like, you gotta get this book.
like the 6th target, for example. It's like, hey, you have
Mhm.
1 through 5. here's number 6, you can add it to your collection. You know, a lot of the donations we get aren't necessarily new, but they have a lot that we're missing, you know, entries in a series, so. It's really helpful, saved us a lot of time. You know, I was able to add maybe 6 or 7 that day, donations that completed, you know, portions of a series, and it helps. It really saved us a bunch of money.
But think about the fact that it analyzed a photo, so there's text to image and image to text technology right there, which is pretty incredible. Oh, this is me using it clunkily on the next slide, right?
Yes, well, it's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, this is the Monterey Branch Library, and I took a photo because I'm trying to change up the space, and I wanted to just experiment with what would it look like if we made it in this vibe or this. And so I used ChatGPT as well to do this. I will say this took some time. So when you put in a spreadsheet or when you ask it to do a lot of things, it takes longer to do that. If you just type in a document and you're like, make sure my verb tense matches, you know, or edit this, it doesn't take long. It's seconds. This took minutes. You know, I was sitting there, it took a while. So I took a picture of the Monterey Branch Library and I put it in to ChatGPT, and then in the prompt, I just put, this is a mountain library, make this cozy. I like Oriental style rugs. I like national parks. So I don't know if you noticed at the back, those are national park pictures. I love plants. I want it to be cozy and inviting. Can you do that? And this is what it came back with. And I mean, I love it. I was like, yes, this is great. But it made some mistakes.
Sure.
So, yeah, you put them out. Yeah.
Or like the door door.
Yeah.
It's kind of coming
Table
out
in
with
front of the door.
Right. Well, her door too. Like this is the door to her office, and they put a table in front of it and a picture on the door. And then yes, you're correct. So Rochelle knows that layout. That's where the front door. This is basically right in front of the front door. So you wouldn't want that to be there. But then what it did is it gave me options. It was like, here's one option, here's another option. Which one do you like the best? So then I choose the option, and then I could say, however, you've put all this furniture right in front of the door. So I need an open space. The first 15 feet, I need it open. And it'll revise it, and it'll do it again. And then I might say, not national parks, I want animal pictures. And then it'll refine it further and further.
So if there's something that you really like, say like that love seat right there, or that little
Yeah.
tiny couch, it's like, where can I buy that? And I want something exactly
Yes.
like that. Give me
You're gonna get
a
it.
website, and it'll spit something out, and it won't be perfect, but they'll find something very similar to the image you generated.
And it's, again, this one took some minutes, but it's a great help for me because I am not very good with like that type of vision. That is definitely not my strong suit. And I just need a little bit of help to see what I could do. And this was really helpful for me. So you could do it in your yard, you know, what plants would look good here, or you could do it in your closet, you could do it, you know, anywhere. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One more. And oh, by the way, my wife has used it for decorating in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it saved us tons of money,
Mm.
giving her ideals, and then, where can I get this?
Mm-hmm.
Or can I get this?
Yeah.
Lower priced, or.
Yeah. It's a tool.
Question on this
Yeah.
is, could you take a picture of that? And, first of all, did you find any incorrect data?
Yeah.
You did?
No, I did for sure, but you kind of got to sift through it. Like I said, I'm like, a lot of them, I'm like, that's not the book. It actually, you know, it got that wrong, or we already have that book. We don't need it. But there were, like, that's why I was only able to add 6 or 7 as opposed to, there's at least 21 there, and it's even longer. It's like probably 40 or 50, I think it's spat out.
That's what
It's never perfect.
No.
Yeah, that's what I was
It is.
thinking.
It's not. You always have to go back and check it. And again, we're using free platforms. I do not know what that looks like if you're paying for these upper tier services. We don't do that here.
Right.
So no.
So you could actually take a picture of that, and, I've seen people doing this, I think that's what they was doing, they was taking pictures of the shelf, and they was asking, what is the value or the,
Oh, yeah,
of these books?
the items,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
yes,
And they was going through and trying to get the highest value.
of
Yeah.
course, right, yeah. We don't need it for that particular thing, but yes,
Oh,
that can be done.
We also used it when we were taking a look at our young adult collection. It saved us a lot of time. Again, it's not perfect, but it was helpful in figuring out which books were probably safe. So we could spend our time looking at books that were more controversial, maybe more questionable. For example, I asked about this book, When in Art and Out of Love, and it gave me a good amount of info I was able to find online. But here's what I was talking about earlier with the sources, that follow-up little circle right there, Macmillan Publishing, click on that, and see what you think of that source. I mean, it's the source from the publisher, so maybe it's not the most reputable, and maybe it has a different source that, hey, here's Goodreads, here's what everyone who read the book, all the readers are actually saying about it, and you get the general public's opinion about it. It's probably a little more credible.
The best thing, I think where this helped us the most, and again, we went through our entire children, young adult collections, which is like 30,000 books. The best thing was that it helped us figure out which ones didn't have any. It helped us say, oh, okay, this one is probably, there's nothing here. And then we were able, like he says there, to fully devote our time to anything that raised a flag at all. We could go back, put our hands on that book. Because for this, we had to, we just read a lot of books. We just went through the pages and read them. But this helped us a lot narrow that down.
That's what I've been finding with this, as far as using it, analyzing stuff, it just saves you time. You still have to put in the legwork, but it helps you weed some stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
But here's something you could use in
Oh,
your
yeah.
personal life. Say you Kathryn had the example, if she knew someone that didn't like violent movies, but they liked, planes or something like that. Is Top Gun Maverick violent? It'll give you the rundown here. And it kind of gives me a basic overview here. And at the bottom it says, if you want, I can also compare this to similar movies. The original Top Gun stood out to me. And so I was
It's
like,
interesting. He ran it against the original.
yeah, I'm like, yeah, how does it compare to the original Top Gun? I'm gonna pretend like I saw that, but not the new one. And I like the old one, but I don't wanna, show my kids this if it's way more intense than the old one. And it gives me a breakdown. Here's the combat scenes, there's brief aerial encounters, and Top Gun Maverick more frequent.
So this is the problem I had with this, and I have seen both movies. The emotional impact, I feel like in the first one is far greater than the second. But AI doesn't agree with me because
How can AI be emotional?
exactly.
Yeah,
It's using what it's got. It's using other people's opinions. Is what it's using. So it can't. That is a great thing to keep bringing up and remembering. It can't. AI doesn't have thoughts or feelings. It's mining from what is already out there.
And more to Captain's point earlier about it only answering your specific question. It didn't take into account that in the Top Gun movie, the original, for example, there was a sex scene. And in the newest one, there's not. It doesn't really take that into account for how appropriate it is for younger audiences.
It's only looking at violence.
Yeah, exactly. I said about violence, so here's everything about violence.
Mm-hmm.
I also used it to examine our reference collection, because it's kind of an elusive subject for me. I'm trying really hard right now to take a look at our reference.
That's the prompt.
Yeah.
So that's what he put into the bot, to the chatbot, ChatGPT.
Like I was asking for advice as to what I can get rid of and what I should replace it with. And that's my input right there. I also gave it a spreadsheet of all of our reference titles. If you just give it that, it's gonna be like, okay, what do I do with this? I need some data to analyze. But it spat this out after I gave it the spreadsheet of our reference items. And it put in the column over here,
Recommendation.
the recommendation. Most of it was key,
Replace
key,
now.
replace now, and it takes into account publication year, the replacement cost, what subject it is. There's some certain subjects that stay relevant for much longer than other subjects. Health for example, is a quickly changing field in technology, whereas history, depending on what kind of history, is pretty set in stone, you know? Unless we discover something completely crazily new about history, it's gonna stay relevant for longer, not forever, but longer than technology, for example, which is quickly changing.
Reference, you know, the books that we keep here, they're not for checkout and they are nonfiction. And we have like law books, medical books, we have all kinds of things in that collection. That's what that collection is.
And then it also gave me advice about where I can buy books to replace it. For example, the dictionary. It's like, hey, you can buy a World Almanac for this much, or the Rogers International Thesaurus for this much. Click here to figure out where you can buy it and for how much. It's kind of nice.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do this together. I'm excited about this.
Yeah, we wanted to do a live one.
This is also my personal clunky use of ChatGPT. So what we're gonna do is make an invitation together and, okay.
What should we say?
Let me
go
throw
ahead.
this. So
Yes.
yeah, because remember you're gonna have to see me try and talk to it. Spencer's good. We'll let him do it next. Okay, oh no, what you'd written of course was perfect. So, what kind of invitation do you all want to do? Birthday party, surprise party, Halloween party, do we care?
Something funny
Funny?
Oh,
Funny birthday? Is that what I heard?
for the dragon.
Obviously.
Oh yeah, for Norman.
Great,
Yeah,
okay.
there you go.
Can you make a,
Oh, okay.
And if we had a picture of Norbert, we could even include that with this prompt, and it would put a picture of Norbert in the invitation.
Bearded Dragon's 7th birthday party. What time? Monday, it's Monday, February,
What is that? The 23rd.
we'll make it up. At 3:30 p.m. I think that's what time it
Give
is.
give it a wrong Monday and date to see if it catches it.
Oh yeah, that's it. That's
That may be wrong.
yeah. What
I think that's
I
right.
think
Okay, so I'll change it.
yeah. I mean,
Put
people-
Monday, February 25th,
Yeah.
2026. Now, it probably won't. Okay, do you want it to be cartoonish or realistic looking?
Medieval.
Okay, oh, of
There we
course.
go. Yeah,
Of
dragon.
course.
How do you spell medieval?
MEDIEVAL.
Thank goodness I spelled it correctly since I'm being live streamed. It's always very, pressure's on. They get medieval
It's a shame
theme.
you asked.
You're braver than I am.
Oh, right? But, okay, medieval theme, but lighthearted.
Yeah.
Sure.
But lighthearted. RSVP to the Cookville Library. What other? Oh yeah. Okay. Any other info you want to do, put in, or make it more specific? Anything else?
A gift theme or something?
Gift?
Do you
Yeah.
wanna do a gift theme on it?
Oh, we could totally do that. Gift theme as well. Norbert wants lots of presents. Okay, let's see what we get.
Wow.
You didn't catch the date.
No, it won't. It usually won't.
Can you say check for accuracy?
Create an invitation. But make it, what do you say? Make it, like I want it to be a picture, right?
Oh yeah.
Make it
Oh, you might
a,
have to click create
image.
image.
oh, where is that?
Oh, it's right.
Oh, yeah, okay. Sorry.
Oh no, you're good.
So, I'm gonna do that. Yeah. Is it not?
Oh, so I guess we do need to log in for that.
Okay.
I can log in real quick.
Okay, log in real fast.
Nobody look.
Yeah, well, it's just his library. Although I may have to. Because it's pretty cool what it'll do. And then, of course, once it generates that, you can Oh, now I'm gonna sort of, because remember, if you're not logged in, it's not gonna remember anything. But do you see on the side? That's all of the things he's done. Those are his ChatGPT, that's like his history.
How long does it keep your history? if
Good
you're
question.
not logged in?
Oh, if you're not logged in, I think as soon as you navigate away from the page, it'll delete it.
That I do know.
Right.
I'm still putting it wrong. Monday at 3:30 p.m. Medieval themed.
I think now that I'm logged in, if you have a create image, it'll do it.
Okay.
I think the only reason before it gave you the chat instead of the image is because we weren't logged in.
Okay.
So we'll see.
See, we learned together. I'm just gonna put that really quickly so we can. It's not letting me create an image. Why didn't it say that? Why isn't it showing create image?
I don't know.
It's like looking different than.
Can you, like, make the screen bigger, the control, roll? I can do it on a laptop, but I can explain it.
Make this screen bigger?
Yes,
So the font's bigger?
yeah. Zoom in, yeah,
Like that?
there you go.
Mhm. There you go. Now it's creating an image. But we'll zoom in. Yes. Good call. That's tiny. Yeah, it's good. It's funny. And of course, now that a lot of people send invitations digitally, you can download this and just put it, send it on your phone. See, so stuff like this takes longer. As you're noticing, like the text didn't take, it was seconds. Whereas the visual image takes longer. This one's taking even longer, so I'm expecting it to be really good. When I did the Monterey Library, so when I took pictures of that, it probably took between 5 and 10 minutes. It took a long time. I don't think this will
Do
take
y'all
that long.
have a picture of Norbert on social media?
Yes.
Can you ask it to find a picture of Norbert?
To find it, we could ask it to. I don't know if it will. We could try that. And
Yeah.
we could be like, can you find an image?
Find an image of
Okay.
our, we
Yeah.
can try it.
See what it does. And if not,
There we go!
Boom.
Oh, wow.
Here you go.
Okay, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's-
I know for sure if you have the image in Norbert, you could ask it to
Yes,
add
we
it,
should.
and it'll replace that.
You're gonna
dragon.
see that later.
Yeah.
We're playing around with that. But this is crazy, like, as far as how detailed that is and how, like, nice that's generated.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and how fast. It's pretty fast.
A minute.
Yeah, probably a minute. Okay. Do you wanna see if it'll pull an image of Norbert our dragon?
Yeah, we could see. We could say it's on Cookeville, Putnam County Library Facebook page. Can you find an image of Norbert?
I know in Tennessee too.
Oh yeah, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we get that. We get
But
calls all the time.
Whoops. Okay, can you pull an image of Putnam County, Tennessee? We evidently have a ghost. That door keeps opening. Okay, I can't. All right. Nice. Look at that. Good to know.
How about that?
Yeah.
That's bright light.
Can you see it? Can everybody? Yeah. So it can't do it because the photos are copyrighted and controlled by the account owner. Even though we are the owner, but it doesn't know that,
How about
which
that?
is good.
But
Um,
is there a photo of it on the library's Facebook profile, which would be public,
not on the profile.
or in the library's public Facebook account?
Yeah, there's pictures of them all over.
It's saying it won't do it,
Yeah, but I mean,
cause it's controlled.
yeah, it must be in
That's
some
taking a
way.
step above what we would do, we would take.
Right, maybe.
Good job, ChatGPT.
Yeah, it's good. It does this, and it did this for some of the books that we were looking through. We would ask it some questions, and it would say, "We're not doing that
Yeah,
because of copyright law." And we're like, "Oh, good, okay, great." So it definitely has some guardrails. Is what that's called in the AI world. There's some guardrails that we clearly just ran up against. So we would we're sticking with that. That's there's Norbert's medieval birthday party.
and it even has 7, oh no, it has 6 candles. That would have been cool.
Yeah,
And
that
then you could
is
say in there, like, hey, that only has 6
Six
candles, can you
candles.
add a 7th?
And it'll
do
kind
it.
of fix it.
Oh,
Wanna see-
wow.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yes. Yeah, I'll let you drive again.
We'll move on.
Yeah.
So here's kind of what I did to my dog. When we're talking about these,
Yeah.
editing photos. If we had an image of Norbert the dragon, we could have done something like this with him. I can't remember why my wife was like, "Can you make our dog like 300 pounds?" And I was like, "Sure." He said, "Sure." And now that's what it is. But I'll show you some limitations it has. Look at my face. It looks different. It took away my sunglasses, and my face looks a little different. And of course, part of my arm is attached to Thunder, and it's all hairy and furry. So, it's not perfect.
It moved the
but-
tree and it moved your body.
Exactly.
Yes, I did.
It changed perspective.
It did
Changed
change
my
perspective.
sandals a little bit. Those
Uh-huh.
look a little different.
Yeah.
But on a first glance, it looks okay. And
Right.
we did this months ago.
Changed
Who
the
knows what it
look.
would look like now?
It changed what?
The rope.
Yeah.
Oh, it did.
Yeah, the
Where
color
did,
of
yeah,
it.
it did.
Sharpened the image too. It'll sharpen images really well. Like I didn't even ask it to sharpen the image, but a lot of if you notice, it's a little blurry on the left, but on the right, despite some of the flaws, like look at
Yeah.
my knee, it looks sharper compared to
Yeah.
the one on the left.
That's funny.
That's what's built into the cameras on all the new phones. I mean, that's just a.
Yes. So
Yeah.
I put that on your sheet too. That if you use the camera function on your phone, you're using AI. Yeah.
Does the law enforcement of the government have any way of detecting?
I don't know much about that.
No,
I
I
don't
don't either.
know
There
what
are
they-
ways that you can, try and figure out using AI to figure out what is AI and what isn't AI. I mean, we'll go more into that at the next session, but as far as what law enforcement can use, yeah, that's one of the concerns is about
Yeah.
whether images can be deepfaked and whatnot. That's kind of going to be what next session's about, but yeah.
Well, look, I'll see. I don't know anything about that. Like, if the government right now, I don't think they do, but I don't know that.
Images, all the images go out on the internet with tags we don't see. And you can save an image and look at the properties of it. Like your phone, when you get it, it defaults to showing your location and tagging every photo. So you can download someone's photo off of Facebook and get the location that was taken at.
But I mean, I'm thinking even text or all these things. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll look at that.
That's one of the criticisms of AI is when
Of course,
people don't identify this was made with AI. Like you see all those fake movie
Yeah,
trailers
exactly.
online and people think it's real. Or there's that Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise fight, that video that recently came out.
Yes.
People thought it was a real movie scene, but it wasn't. So there's limitations and there's criticism.
Okay.
Here's Kathryn's dog Olive.
Yeah, this is Olive. So I took a picture of my dog Olive, and then I was like, put her to work. And this is what it does, and it creates this image of her. This is her. Really, it summed her up right there. She does nothing I ask her to do. So it's fun. Like, if you want to play with it and make it fun, you can do some things with it. But
And there are some things it won't do with images. Like,
Yeah.
I think I asked it to make me 300 pounds, and it's like, we won't do that. Your dog is fine, but you, no. But there are some, and it'll let you know why it can't do certain things. But
And I wanted to also, so on this vocabulary list, I wanted to bring your attention to lots of different types, which we can go into too later. Different types of basically chatbots or ChatGPT. So Spencer uses ChatGPT, which is owned by OpenAI, but there's lots of other platforms And we don't, again, endorse or promote one platform over the other. It's just kind of what we use. I use Gemini more often, which is Google's platform. I use Google a lot. So I use Gemini more often. Copilot is Microsoft's AI platform, and it embeds with Microsoft and Excel and the Office suite more. Let's see, I think I put on Claude. Anthropic is Claude's. That one, I don't know anything about it except that former OpenAI employees left to start Claude, and it's supposed to be a safer AI model. I really don't know what they mean by that necessarily. I tried to look into it a little because, again, I'm unfamiliar with it, but it just said it had more guardrails about minimizing error and bias. I don't know how it does that. I'm very unfamiliar with Claude. And then I feel like there was one more that I put on there, maybe not. But there's several different ones. So know that you have options too, and you can look at different, and they do different things better. So Grok is another one. I didn't put that on there, but Grok takes, I think it's from X, formerly Twitter. I think Grok takes most of its training, its large language model from Twitter or X. So look and see, where it's coming from, what it works well with, and that will also give you some indication as to what might work best for you, depending on what you're using it for. There's a lot of money in AI right now. I listen to, of course, a podcast. I talk about them all the time, but one this morning that Amazon's, I think their expected capital expenditures for 2026 is $200 billion in AI. And that was this morning. They were just talking about that. That's a ton of money. It's a lot of money. And so there's a lot.
What was the podcast you said you listened to?
AI Daily Brief.
So it talks about AI and good and bad and.
Yeah. There's also AI for Beginners. That's another podcast that I listen to. I get them both through Spotify, but you can, I think you can get them through another platform. I'm sure you could. That's just the one I use. Let's see. Yeah, the AI Daily Brief and then AI for Beginners. A Beginner's Guide to AI. A Beginner's Guide to AI. Yeah. And then, because it's such a new and emergent technology, I think we hear about it all the time, whether we want to or not. So just like this morning, I was listening to the news, and they're like, well, Amazon's stock, I don't know, dropped in anticipation of capital expenditure revenues in 2026 of $200 billion. And I was like, whoa, goodness, I don't know how many zeros go. That's so much money. So anyway, I think it's all around us. So again, here in the next few sessions, we want to try and just help learn about it. Yes?
Spencer, how long have you been working with ChatGPT?
Probably like a year and a half. I think the first time I used it was 2024 at the very end of it.
What kind of learning curve is there you've been a year and a half,
I mean, the great thing about it is adaptive, and it'll kind of pick up whatever level you're at. If you're not very good at using AI, it'll help you by using AI. It'll help you use AI. It's interesting that way. I mean, you can talk to it like it's a real person, and like Kathryn said, it's not a real person. You have to take the responses it gives you with a grain of salt a lot of the time, but it's very adaptive. And if you're like, I don't know how to use this, or what can I do? It'll tell you how to do it.
And that may be a good thing to do maybe in March, is to just go through some scenarios with you all. You could bring some things and we could walk through and show you how to do it.
Right, yeah. Next time, come up with if you're returning in March, we'd love to have you back. Come up with some things you'd like us to run through and see if we can do it live. And before we go though, we'll go. Yeah, go ahead.
After a year and a half, how would you rate yourself as far as skill level with ChatGPT?
Skill level? Oh, probably like. I think I've just barely hit the tip of the iceberg. So honestly, maybe like 2 out of 10, 3 out of 10. It's definitely better than when I started, which is probably like a 1 or 2. But it's increasing. There's every day, maybe not every day, but every month maybe. There's things that I learn it can do that I didn't know beforehand that it could do. It's just kind of like exploring this giant world.
Thanks.
I call him an expert as in direct relation to me. I would be like,
It's all
11.
relative.
That's right. I would call myself 11.5.
But my wife uses it even more than me, so she's
Oh,
probably
you
like
do?
5 out of 10. So it's interesting.
Well-
The amount you use it, it's you know,
Yeah.
learns with you kind of, learns you, and it tailors its responses to that, you know.
And if you're trying to create software applications by writing code, this probably isn't the spot for you, because we don't do that. I don't know how to do that, but it does do that. AI will do that. We just don't. We mostly use it in a work or fun type of way, yes.
Well, and there are criticisms, and there's benefits too. We're gonna go over the criticisms and the benefits, the overall benefits of having AI in this world. There are people who, you know, point out that it uses a lot of electricity and water. The water is through these cooling systems that it uses, and I've heard in the past that it pumps up the electric bills of people who live near where these AI processing plants are. So that's one drawback for having AI. And it can be used to replace the work. I italicize can because there are people who use it for the wrong reasons, creating fake movie trailers, and they, especially when they don't disclose that it was made with AI. They pass it off as something they created. A work of art was made with AI, and someone says, "Oh yeah, I painted this." It's not good. It's taking credit for something that you didn't do, and it's akin to plagiarism. It lowers our capacity overall to think critically. That's another, I want to add as a caveat, it can do that. When you don't use it as assistance, when you let it take over your ingenuity and your, you know, hard work that you actually should be putting into whatever work that you're doing. And it can be faulty. You have to take that into account too, especially children. If they're using AI and they don't have the, you know, ability to figure out what is and what isn't real yet, especially young
It was
kids.
so hard.
Yeah,
It's hard for me,
right, yeah.
adult.
A lot of the, I mean, there's plenty of adults, I'm included, that looks at a video made by AI and they don't realize that it's fake, you know? And so children, it's even harder. There are great benefits though.
Can we go back to criticism?
Yeah, of course,
I
yeah.
mean, some of the ones that concern me.
Yeah.
Because it's so new to me, is the safety issue and the privacy issues. I didn't even recognize the fact that AI is in your emails and in your texts and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
And there's ways to block that. And who the leaders of those chat boxes are is very important. How are they gonna use that information? Because OpenAI, I believe, has access to any piece of information. Anything you say to it, anything you look up is free game. Now, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the safety side of it is free game to whoever those leaders are. Can they give it to the governments? Can they give it? So the safety issue, more even the environmental issue is very important.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's a lot of issues with that, but the safety side of it on where that information goes and how intrusive. I mean, I would say, oh no, I really was using AI, and here I have been all this time.
Oh, yes.
All these different ways that I
Yes.
didn't know it was inside of, I guess. So, if along these talks, you can talk more about those things and
Yep.
about, like, ways to block it from doing, some of the stuff, and the different chat boxes, and, you know, who are those leaders?
Yeah,
Like I said, OpenAI, they
Like
have to
who?
give their information to all these people. And I'm sure it's in my terms and agreements, I would understand if I went to them.
no, it's,
But stuff like that, this whole safety side of it, because this presentation is like, I want it, I'm gonna, you know, especially as a librarian, or,
Yeah.
retired librarian, I'm like, cool. But it's like,
Yeah,
so
but
many
like-
things, and so but really, the concerns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause there are, you know, like you say, you've got a lot of people, saying a lot about this topic on concerns,
Yes.
so,
We did.
but the safety side of it, I guess.
sure.
Sure. No, I would write that down. I think that's great to see how you can block it from tracking on specific apps. And I think it is smart, Rochelle, you kind of brought this up, but like, see where the money, I mean, Amazon is putting 200 billion, I think, Mark Zuckerberg with Meta is over 115 to 130 billion dollars, so that's Facebook, Instagram, does See how there's the metaverse. I don't know what all of it.
Oh,
is.
Messenger.
Okay, there's
Everything
lots.
that we text each other.
But that's where they're getting, that's data, right? They're using large language model, I mean, that's where they're getting it. So knowing, right, where the money is and where that's going. It's, yeah, that's a great.
There's just so many.
It's like an amplified, you know, when people were concerned, I mean, they still are, about when you use a search engine, whether it sells the information that you're given and which sites you visit to try and, you know, help advertisers better advertise to you. It's kind of like an amplified version of that, so you have to take that into account. There are benefits, and of course the safety thing, like Rochelle said, you have to take that into account. What you're saying might not be private, but it does, the things that it helps people do is kind of amazing. So it saves you a great deal of time, no matter what you're doing, pretty much. Just the amount of analysis it can do and the amount of legwork that it takes off of you. It really helps people with disabilities, speech to text, for example. It really helps people who can't, speak necessarily, learn to talk again. Someone who's had a stroke, they can use to learn how to talk again using their own voice. It can mimic someone's voice, and that can be used, for things that aren't, 100% kosher, but it's also very useful for people who are, trying to learn to speak again. I included a couple pictures here from the PIDS, this medical show, and in the second season of this show, they have speech to text where they're charting these doctors, and they're all really inundated with this massive amount of patients, and they don't have time to type it all out, but they can speak, and it'll pick up everything with 99% accuracy. Of course, you need to go over it again, but it saves you a lot of time, and people in that sort of field are using that in the real world, and it's really kind of streamlining this process that and allows them to take care of more people and potentially save lives. And of course, it makes information infinitely easier to access. There's things that you learn by going through ChatGPT or other generative AI that teaches you more than just a simple Google search, where you have to actually dive through all the information yourself. You only go through maybe 2 or 3 sources. It breaks it all down and kind of gives it to you in this more palatable sort of format.
Do you all have any other lasting thoughts, comments, questions, or things that you want to look at maybe next month, other than we do want to try and show you all how to tell the difference between AI versus human pictures and videos? Are there any other things specifically that you're thinking?